Welcome to the podcast. It's only been God knows how many months. Andrew Ellis, Ben Pinniger, welcome. You're both previous guests. Thanks for coming around. What are we going to talk about today?
Fitness, probably, you.
Andrew Ellis 2.0.
Well, yes. I have recently awoken from my slumber of God knows how many years, mainly due to a breakup, and having a cry boo-hoo, etc. And that's not me at all, but it is now. So I've just had to wake up and realise that I'm as vulnerable as the next guy.
And I've not been on just because I don't want to talk to people, really.
I don't blame you.
There's been a massive gap.
Yeah, a bit rude, isn't it?
Rude.
I don't want to talk to you.
I'm a rude person. Anyway,
It's gone right down now. So.
For those that don't know, Andrew Ellis, a bit about you, please, sir.
I have apparently got the largest forehead, not only in fishery management, but
big.
Potentially in the country.
Yeah.
I am applying. In the olden days, it would have been Norris McWhirter. I would have had to apply to. He was the adjudicator on the Guinness Book of Records. So to quantify my size of my forehead, I'd have had to go straight to him. But he died a long time ago, so I'm unaware of the current legislation. But I am seeking out advice.
In terms of that, they say, does the collar match the cuffs? Does the forehead match the...
penis?
Well, I was going to say foreskin would be the logical thing.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't look at other people's foreskins.
Well, while we were sat naked, I thought that was a point you wanted me to bring up.
I still wouldn't be looking. That's why
I'll look the other way. Fine,
Okay,
be sensitive about it. Right, so who are you?
I am Andrew Ellis. Yes, 2.0. But no, I've just spent my whole life mucking around in ponds and lakes. Put it simply. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. And I'm very passionate about it. I'm very opinionated about it simply because it's what I love. And I've had a great career doing that sort of thing, really. I've travelled. I've been able to express my opinions and my voice upon various organisations on my own time. I don't want to be involved with anyone. I don't want to, like-minded people is what I'm all about.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. And I like other things.
Keep it clean. Where did it start for you?
When I was a kid, when I fishing, basically, just as usual. I was about 9 years old, 9 years old, went fishing down a tiny little pond. Didn't know what I was doing, but someone caught a fish and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I loved that. And since then, it's always been about being outdoors and learning and understanding, not just fish, but nature and everything else that comes with it, really. And it's just lovely because you can escape, you can be on your own, you can be with people. There's endless possibilities that you can do being outside and understanding and learning about natural history too. So, yeah.
Was it the traditional route for you? Caught a roach, worked your way up?
No, caught pike. First fish I ever caught was a pike.
How big?
Oh, about... All right, calm down. Bloody farmers.
Coke Zero is so gassy.
I think you should speak to Ben now. He's obviously trying to interrupt.
That wasn't me doing
we can all do that. You wait, I'll fart when you start talking. Go.
Come on, Ben.
Right.
Who are you? What's your name and where did you come from?
I am a person.
Yes.
Next question. I'm a person that works with Andrew in the winter.
Yeah, what do you do in the summer?
In the summer, I'm glad you asked. I make fish feeds, don't I? For the Andrew's clients.
Yes.
For sustainable alternative for fisheries.
Is this your first time on a podcast?
No, I've done many.
Have you?
Probably at least 3.
Yeah. So why didn't you use fish meal? What's the big deal?
Well, we don't need to really, do you really?
Why?
Because it's...
Like the 3-year-old. Why?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked. Because fish are cold-blooded, yeah? So
Understood.
they're monogastric, which means they've got an stomach, they've got a single intestine, and they digest their meal through enzyme actions through the intestine. So the intestines are most effective and most active in the warmer the water is. So there's no points feeding them a high-spec diet like a fish meal. Fish meal is obviously the easiest digested protein for fish because it's converting fish protein back into fish, isn't it, Dominic?
Yes.
So cereals, it's harder to digest, but if the fish's digestion efficiency is affected by temperature through the enzymes not being as effective in the cold water, then there's no point in using that higher spec protein, which is unsustainable. You're using fish out of the ocean to feed the fish at a time when they can't effectively digest it and convert it into body tissue.
Omega-3, there was a bit, we've had a chat about that.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that a little bit if you can.
So, marine protein is obviously higher than omega-3, omega oils, sorry. But through research, you find out that omega-3 is actually obtained through algae and plankton that rather than the fish are basically the carrier. So marine oils extracted from fish is actually, they're just the carrier of the omega, which you can take out the middleman if you like through algae, and a lot of the alternative oils now and the omegas 3s and 6s are coming from seaweeds and things like that, and extracting the oils from that. So basically what we do is try and maximise the fertility of the fishery for a healthy algal bloom, which is going to give the fish everything they need, and we're just supplementing that with a food source, keeping them feeding and active, moving, growing, healthy condition, in good condition, and it all makes sense.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to butt in.
Yeah, no you're not. Carry on.
How quickly do you reckon you can down a pint? Because recent videos would suggest it would be under 3 seconds, maybe.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'd say that. I reckon I've got this thing. I reckon I can do. I used to be able to do 3 in 10 seconds.
That's
3 pints.
I reckon. I bet I can. I could.
Right, well, hang on. Well, later on we're going out, so we're 100% going to have a go on that.
Maybe we should have it for the members-only content.
Yeah, definitely. So later on, Ben's going to try and do 3 pints in under 10 seconds. I mean, the other day when we were out, he did a pint of Guinness in an obscene amount of time. So, sorry, carry on about whatever it was you're going to about the feed.
Obviously, you mentioned like the water temperatures there. How does it differ from winter feeding to summer feeding? Is there a difference? You see a few handful of known, air quotes, anglers that fill it in with bait in the winter and do all right. Is that the right thing to do?
I'd say little and often through the winter. I feed my ponds as and when, really. I don't lose much sleep if I can't feed them. I sort of aim for 2 or 3 times a week just to keep them looking for food, keep their metabolism active, and stop them from switching off, because they will. Carp will certainly switch off, especially in sort of snaggy pits. They like to they're just sort of attracted to snaggier areas where they feel safe from predators, even when they're big fish, and that's when they pick up parasites, things which, although they don't bother them much in the winter, because fish are pretty much docile and inactive through the winter. In the spring, when they actually start to wake up, they've got this massive parasitic load, lots of skin irritation, and they're producing a lot of mucus. So it's hard for them to transition into the spring, and then shortly after spring they're looking to spawn in. So it's quite a quick. They need to be prepared for spawning with being healthy, good, strong immune system, which we get from feeding.
Speaking of heavy loads, is there anything that you've sort of looked into that would help maybe prevent a heavy infestation or as I said before, a heavy load of sort of parasites or anything like that? And is there anything you could incorporate into your feed maybe?
Yeah. Oh God, it's like you knew what I was coming on to. So this product last year we started to.
Everyone will think there's a script.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Brilliant.
So the way, a lot of people would contact us about garlic, putting garlic in feeds. It's got a reputation in the koi industry for repelling parasites, and I just thought there's a lot of bloody theories you hear at the pub, and we know a lot of them to be nonsense. So these things that come to us sort of take it with a pinch of salt. Anyway, it's kept appearing. And looked into
salt's good.
Did a lot of research into it, and actually it does have quite a good reputation for repelling parasites, and in the equine industry for repelling biting insects. So similar sort of thing going on there. So we started to look at it a bit more seriously, and came up with an oil-based product to coat feeds in, because the actual active ingredient in garlic, allicin, which is a sulfur-containing compound that parasites don't like. But it's heat sensitive, so we couldn't put it into the feed pre-pelleting, because the cooking processes will denature the sulfur containing compounds, which is the thing we're trying to protect. So it had to be a post production sort of thing, so a feed coating. So we made an oil based product to coat the feed, and that's something we call naturopower, which a lot of people are getting it a bit wrong.
Give us some of the examples of spelling.
Okay,
well, if you will try and be overly clever with your marketing, I mean, maybe you should stick to should have got it BP liquid.
Yeah, probably should.
We've all been witness to
BP liquid is called petrol, though.
But no, I think BP liquid is sprinkled over Bath city centre.
My simple brain thought we're trying to create a natural repellent.
Yes.
So, guys, see where I'm going?
No.
Natural repellent. So we call it naturopower because it's a natural repellent.
Right.
Of not of fish, of parasites.
Yeah, that would be annoying, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Shouldn't mind you could chuck it in everyone else's swim.
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
I think it's a great name.
Yeah. So naturopower is that product that helps to repel skin parasites, and it's also a good lipid source for
what's a lipid?
conditioning fish for
it's these.
It's amino acid.
That's a lip lid. No, that's a foreskin.
All right.
Amino acids.
Pardon, that's nice.
I just pointed to it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've got plenty of lipid. Look at this.
You've been on naturopower.
That is.
Ladies.
Wow.
I know. I
That's
hope it
like
right, don't I?
That is
massive, isn't it? Anyway, I'll put my penis away now and we'll carry on talking. Sorry. Yeah. Right, so I'm glad you've all come round. So we've all opened a can of Tiny Rebel, apart from Andrew 2.0.
Well, I don't drink beer anymore. I drink vodka.
Do you want to top up, sir?
Yeah, but no. Let's crack on with this first because this is good, seriously educational.
This is serious.
Educational, informative, and genuine.
I'll tell you what I wanted to talk about: biomass of a water.
Yes, love that word.
So I listened to a podcast. I won't name names. The other day, and they said something a bit different to what I've heard you two say.
Awesome.
I don't mean to throw the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons, but what's your views on cropping fish out of a lake? To me, that makes sense. What you said makes sense because it's just less mouths to feed. It's less shit that's going through the water. So I imagine it settles down in sediment. I'm the novice here. Educate me, Andrew.
Well, it depends on A, I don't know what you've heard, but B,
I'll fucking tell you what. But sorry about the language.
In a minute, hang on. Okay, right. Anyway, it doesn't matter what you're going to say because what I'm going to say is,
nice.
Shut up. Right, listen. In any way, shape, or form, the bottom line is, we work in environments where people are continually stocking fish into lakes, right? Most of the time, not all the time, etc., etc. Big lakes, natural stock waters, all proper carpet, etc. But the majority of places stock a lot of fish annually or biannually or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't interrupt that and occasionally crop and reduce the biomass, which the actual word, the word means the total weight of fish in any body of water.
Right.
A lot of people will kind of make up names or they'll just chuck it into a sentence like me and Benny are that all the time. They'll sort of say,
like I just did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's fine. You know, it's like me saying, "Oh, boiler," and in a non-contextual sentence. Mm-hmm. But anyway, for me, it just means. If I don't intervene, and it always comes down to when we're doing our survey work, which is our sort of bread and butter in the winter. So you net a lake and you look at what's going on, and only if you find the biomass to be excessively high and the fish to be malnourished or the fish to be struggling, then you would obviously advise the client to reduce the biomass to increase the space available to the fish. Doesn't matter if it's carp or it doesn't matter if it's a carp lake or match fishery or whatever, but if you don't do that, if I go and find these situations, which Ben's been with me for 10 years, and he's seen as much as I have in the last 10 years, of these situations where we find excessive amounts of fish. If I don't tell the client this, and they carry on regardless, they either get KHV, they get a problem, they have low oxygen, the fish die anyway. So you're giving them an opportunity to take fish out that don't need to be in the lake. Most of the time, they rely on what anglers are catching. So they'll say things like, "Oh, that's all right, there's no small fish in here, we don't catch them." Then we'll net the lake and there's tons, quite often. So, and you have to be cruel to be kind, really. You either reduce the biomass to increase water quality and oxygen and all these other bits and pieces and space and availability and all that sort of stuff. Or you just go, "Oh no, let's leave it to nature. Yeah, we love Chris Packham. We'll just leave everything as it is. Oh yeah, look at us. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, I smoked grass at high school." And then you realise that one day, bang, massive algal bloom, dies off, really hot summer, all your fish are dead. That's 100% preventable in 99% of the cases. And that's what annoys me is when people go, "Oh no, why don't we just leave it to nature? Let's leave the weed. What, don't do this?"
Yeah.
Is that annoying?
It's not annoying for me, it'd be annoying for the listeners. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch your toe there.
It's just beads, isn't it?
Should we just put some clothes on and get serious?
Oh God, always about the clothes. But no, that in a nutshell, that's why you don't want to go to places and say, you've got to take fish out. But as much as I might do that to clients, a lot of people are going, you must put fish in to improve your fishing. Well, that's the last thing I'd advise. I went to somewhere not long ago where I actually said, you could do with a few more fish. Normally it's down to predation or pollution or one of those reasons. But yeah, you don't need to worry about half the stuff people do worry about. And, all I can do is, and it is massively, and we always go on about the fact that it comes down to individual sites. So you have to take every case as you find it. So you go to one place and it'll be 100% different than the next one. And that's my job and that's our job. And we have to go places and have an open mind, but be realistic and be honest with the client and say, in this instance, I do X, Y, and Z because of this. And it's up to them if they want to take that on board. Ooh.
Sorry, look at my massive penis.
No, I just see
the... Oh my God. No, sorry.
Yeah.
What would you say to a younger-ish school leaver that wanted to get into the industry? Obviously, there's various colleges.
Yeah. Fun enough, I was at Plumpton College a few days ago. My friend Dan, who I studied with, and he was he kindly asked me to go down and do a little lecture to the kids. And they're the same age as I was they were the same age as Ben was when I first met Ben, actually, and varying different levels of attention and all that stuff, and lovely guys and girls down there. And it wasn't as much about asking me what I get up to. It was as much me asking them, did they really want to be there and do it? Because it's a physical job. It's something that if you want to progress in and do well in, you have to have a passion for, because you're going to get wet, you're going to get cold, you have to get up early in the morning, you have to be committed to it. You can't just go, oh, hi, I'm a fishery manager. It's a bit like saying I'm a bailiff. You're just a fisherman, really, who turns up to a work party and has a beer and tosses a sausage on a barbecue and might prune a bit of a tree with a pair of secateurs. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's
French for that.
Exactly, yeah. Trimmers, cutters. Anyway, that's what I'm on about. It's like it's a commitment to. It really is, there's you have to just crack on and get the job done, and you have to get up early and you have to want to do it, and you have to have that passion and that drive. Because I've only noticed that in the last 10 years, where the fact that another beer for Dom there. Christ alive.
That doesn't happen overnight.
I know, I can see that. That's why I'm on the vodka and slim line.
Sorry, I didn't realise we were a fat shaming podcast.
You made it. You made us that. Yeah. By getting in that state.
State. Cut. You carry on.
But yeah, no, we're very. I think we're all very fortunate to just stop rubbing yourself. We're all very fortunate to be in this line of work. I'm always very humbled by the fact that I'm still being able to make a living and pay my bills doing what I do.
Excuse me.
All right, it's all right for you to cough, is it?
Ben,
it's not all right for me
going the right way.
Is the industry going? So it depends which way you look at it, I suppose.
Roughly, in your opinion.
In my opinion, yeah, no, I think so. It's obviously the rod license sales are up a lot. The lockdown and COVID did it all a lot of good, but there's obviously negatives that come with it. Newcomers to the sport, you're attracting. Yeah, no, but there is also a negative to that.
So what you're saying is like an education gap.
Is actually becoming a bit scruffy. I think a lot of the newcomers, busy day tickets, it's becoming almost a skid mark on the wetlands, isn't it? Because it's sort of busy day ticket fisheries, not the respect like they used to be with traditional anglers. That
like a typical chav turning up smoking weed.
Yeah, if you like, yeah. There's like compared to things like golf, where there's a uniform. You have to wear certain clothes to look smart, and there's that respect within a lot of sports. Whereas angling, anyone can turn up and just sort of you can get equipment on the cheap. Any sort of equipment you can turn up and go fishing tomorrow real cheap. And
I think it's real cheap.
Yeah, like we did that. So yeah, I think there's good to come of it and bad as well. We see more and more of that day ticket, particularly where it's open access, people can just turn up and go, and there's more and more litter there. Whereas some of the places that got more control, they're a premium price point, which we get slated all the time, don't we, by encouraging fisheries to to charge more and more. But the ones that charge a premium, they attract a certain clientele that have respect for the sport and they pay for that kind of sport, and they know that they're going to turn up and expect to see an immaculate fishery, which they will, because there's not many people that want to pay that sort of price. It's not, there's less footfall on the ground, less wear and tear on the fish, less litter, and the fish generally are less pressured because there's not many people that want to spend that sort of money to go to do that sort of fishing. So for me, I think there's going to be more and more of a divide of the traditionalist angler that is happy to pay a premium and enjoy that sort of fishing, and the angler that's just wants to go for a day out and just for a laugh, really, I suppose.
What does the industry need then? If from you saying that, does it need bespoke, higher end waters? Do you think there's a gap there? Is that what you're saying? What you're saying?
Yeah.
Not like a fishing so and so like for salmon and it's thousands and thousands of pounds. What you're saying? Is there a gap for something?
There's a gap everywhere for every market. It's what you want as a fishery, I think. But our advice would always be, you could to cater for that lower end market. You've got to deal with a lot more people. With a lot more people comes a lot more problems, a lot more wear and tear on the fishery, on the fish, and harder to manage ultimately. And clientele problems realistically is, although it's sort of, you don't like to tarnish the fisheries under the sort of, and anglers under the same sort of
But it sounds like
same
you're
brush.
about to.
Yeah, it sounds like it was slag anglers off a lot, but so they are as a community we're let down a little lot by a fraction of the.
Is that from the anglers or is that from the people that are policing the waters? Because it's like anything, it's ultimately it's down to the person that's running it or not.
Yeah, I guess a bit of education involved as well. But I think angling is so attractive because it is so cheap. And people can just go and get the equipment enough to go fishing, and they can, anyone can do it. Whereas if it was an expensive sport, it would only attract. I'm probably saying a lot of things can upset a lot of people, but
That's
it's
right.
true.
That's
It's
right.
happening. We see it more and more. There's lots of very cheap fishing, a lot of club lakes which are very, very cheap to fish for the year. Whereas if you do anything else, if you want to do any other hobby for even a day, your fishing's like up there, probably one of the cheapest things to do. Which is great, and it's good and it's bad.
Have you played darts before?
Cheap as chips, darts.
Right, we're going to get a drink and we'll
Yeah,
come
let's
back in a
just
second.
stop.
And now Andrew wants to carry on.
Only because I got slated, actually. I like getting slated, but that's just personally. Online, I mean, I get a lot. I obviously say things that a lot of people disagree with. The last thing,
slated about what?
many things, but I have to just be honest about what we see and what we do and what we get up to. I'm not really here to make friends. I'm here to help people who need our help. We help fisheries, hashtag and all that. So that is what we do. Anyway, drunk now. So bottom line, Ben was saying about, fishing's cheap, and some people will go, yeah, but we're on low incomes and we're struggling with this and we're struggling with that. It's like, yeah, okay, well, fishing is not an essential part of your life. It's a hobby, it's a pastime. Huge amounts of research has been done. It has got huge mental health benefits. It's because basically you're outside, you're with nature. It is a beautiful and wonderful thing if you let it be. But it can be very cheap, and it annoys me greatly when people say, "Oh, I can't afford to go fishing." It's like, well, you can. There's loads of places you can go free. The Environment Agency do an awful lot for angling clubs. They give them a lot of equipment, within their boundaries of their budgets every year. So anyone can go fishing for virtually nothing. You can buy a tin of sweet corn from the supermarket.
For how much?
45 pence. I mean, there we are, see? And that's just my nature. I'm sorry, but I wanted to make a joke about some of the same people who would argue that the fishing's expensive, wouldn't even know what sweet corn is because it's vegetables and they only eat fried food. But there we are.
We can leave that in, that's fine.
Good.
It's going to be left.
But seriously, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In all honesty, fishing is cheap. You compare it to anything else, it's cheap. Everyone goes, oh yeah, but I can't afford a load of rods, and it's like, you don't have to have any of that.
Just stick with your 70-inch TV, your Netflix, your Amazon
and your
Prime
£20 a day.
subscriptions.
Exactly right. And you're never going to win. You're never going to win everyone's opinion. But fishing is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. We're not. The people who are important in this industry and the people who care about it are still here after a lot of years. That's what you have to remember. Why? Because they care about it. They're not just here to make money. Yeah. Anyone in my industry that I'm proud and I've grown up working in for a long time.
Yeah.
All right, Dom's just showing off his biceps there. I'll give you £100 if you beat me now.
No chance.
Oh, okay.
Look at that scar.
Yeah, but your biceps are bigger than mine.
Stop it.
Anyway, sorry. Good band, strong times. But it's a very valid point and very true, because in my opinion, we are lucky to do what we do, but it's a case of the people who really want to be here and do the job are here because it's a passion. We all know each other. We're all sort of in the same boat, really. There's people who come and go all the time. There's people who get a good rep and a bad rep every now and then, and I understand that. It's the same in any business. Fishery management is the same in any business. There's people who care about it, people who don't care about it, people who see it as a cash cow, people who see it as a way to exploit people. And that annoys me, but then you have a reality check. It's all I've ever done, so I'm massively passionate about it. And you have to get to a point where you think, well, this must be what it's like for every single person who's in business in any way, shape or form around the world. Like, there must be huge frustrations when people are doing it wrong, in your opinion, and huge frustrations and jealousy when people are doing it better than you. And we all have that, but at the end of the day, all you can do is be honest, be true, and if you can make a living doing something you love, then that's all I've ever cared about, to be honest. And having met people like Ben and having students and having all these opportunities I've had, and you do get respect if you stick to your morals, and it's taken me this long to get to where I am now. So it's a good thing, and I love it, and I never take the piss out of my clients. That's a main thing. All right, but I might pick and choose what I do nowadays, and what I put my team through nowadays. I don't want to go and work for people I think are going to just be awkward. But at the same time, it's the most rewarding thing in the world for me to go and save habitats and environments that are ruined just by rash decisions and people believing what they read in magazines. It's a continual thing for me, and it never gets boring. So I'm immensely proud of the fishery industry and the fishery management industry. There's more fishing on television now than there ever has been, since I've been alive, and that is a long time.
Well, you're a rare breed. That's the thing as well. You've mentioned obviously.
All right, just coming from Suffolk, Don. So Jesus.
Hold on.
Hard on.
There's not many people that are that passionate, but it's like there are so many people that would start out and then think, oh, I need to be this, oh, I need to be that, I need to be so and so. You've stuck to your guns from day one. Obviously, you've gone, I'd say, long and narrow. That's the expression, rather than sort of wide. And that's the I mean,
I'd like it. Don't get me wrong, Don. We'd all like a bit more girth.
Speak for yourself.
But at the end of the day, it gets dark. No, but it's like with Ben. It's like I've always said to him. You have to have your morals. You have to stick. I've always just stuck to what I know. I don't rely on what other people tell me. I want to. If I get paid, I'm very, very lucky. I get paid to go and give people my advice. And I learned a long time ago that it's much, much better to give my advice and say that this is what I've seen and what I know that is true, rather than just recite stuff out of other people's literature or just copy and paste stuff. And I hate all that with a passion, to the fact that I never did it. And I think that set me in good stead. But at the time, I didn't really care. It's like I was so focused on how much I cared about my own opinion and the fact that I've seen a lot more. You don't really realise when it's happening. You realise 5-10 years down the line that actually, when you hear other people talking and you actually go to places and see what they're doing, and you think, that's they haven't definitely done that once or twice. I've done that 100 times. And it doesn't matter what it is.
You don't know what you know, I think, as well. It's that thing, you don't...
Yeah, 100, all the time.
Yeah.
And it's only now, as I get older, I'm being reminded of that sort of stuff. Because you think... Ben, the last 10 years, he's seen that. He's been with me for 10 years, and he's seen all that. So, and I take it for granted. And even before I met Ben, and I've been doing it a long time. So for me, I still feel like I'm a young boy, especially now with my fitness routine.
Fucking machine.
Oh, but a broken one, Dom. Let's not forget that.
They can be oiled and greased and
fixed.
A
heartbroken
one. You just need a bit. Oh dear.
Can we stop for a cry break?
No, over to Ben. Anything you want to add to that? That was profound.
No, I
probably shouldn't have been masturbating furiously while he was talking, but
disgusting. Why would you do that?
Top bands.
No, Mike's not here today, hon.
Are there any useful mics? I don't know any useful mics.
We don't get any credit from the anglers, I know that much. We get credit from the fishery owners because they see how business go from strength to strength.
But that's who pay us.
But they get they see essentially their business goes from strength to strength, and that's what we're here for, is to help mainly the fish, but in turn the quality of the fish and progression of the fish benefits the owner of the fish, which is the fishery owner.
What about danger signs? There must be, obviously, because I'd imagine you guys are you get a handful of proactive people that use you and think, right, well, crop fish, like preventative maintenance. You must get reactive maintenance. What are the danger signs in terms of a lake's ecosystem that you see that you could flag or give some tips to people of, like warning signs to watch out for? Is there anything there?
I'd say a lot of the work that Andy's called in for is, although people think our job is the best. The dream job for everyone. Yeah. A lot of it's when we're calling a bit too late, isn't it? And we're cleaning up after problems.
So what could they have done? Like say months, a year beforehand.
Well, it annoys me when I see, a lot of people. To be fair, they give the environment agencies a lot of slack. They give them a lot of grief online, and that's unfair because there's an awful lot of people who work for the environment agency who are great. They've got limited funds. The government, when we were 25 years ago, it was a safe bet to go. When we were kids, when we were learning how to do all this stuff at college, the safe bet was going work for the EA, government agency, safe, pension, etc., etc. I mean, a lot of my friends did do that. They're being dwindled now because the environment agency is not as important as keeping government going and paying them all their bonuses, whatever you. I don't have any affiliation. Yeah, all that shit. Anyway, so they get less and less and less money. So does CFAS. We've watched CFAS dwindle with their staffing numbers, and they have less and less people to go around the country, and so did the Environment Agency. So there's an awful lot more potential for private companies and people like ourselves to get more work. But then obviously with that comes a lot of equal risk of abuse of that. So there's a lot of people who will just tout, or not a lot of nonsense, just selling products or just selling this, that and the other, saying, oh, this is really good. But I've never done that. I mean, people seem to think that I'm on a bung with Ben. People think, oh, you tell us to buy his pellets because you're getting a percentage out of it. And I tell people the truth. I always have done but they look at you as if you're an idiot or as if you're not telling the truth. And I said when Ben did ask me initially, and he said, we need to have a meeting to discuss, what terms, because obviously you're going to tell your clients about this. And I was like, well, we shared the idea initially, and Ben's very young at the time, and we shared the idea, and I've always wanted to do this sort of thing, but I wanted him. I didn't want any money out of it. I wanted to be able to keep his services and retain his services because I can't afford to pay him a lot of money, but he's passionate. He's as passionate as I am, and he cares about the job as much as I do. So it was never about making money in that respect. It was about sharing a passion and an idea that I knew would work. And we discussed this at the start. I said, everyone's going to slate it. Everyone's going to say X, Y, and Z. Everyone's going to moan and say, because it's not the norm, and everyone's going to, basically slag it off. And I said, but I had that when I was 18, 19 years old. People are saying, why should we pay you money when we can pay other people money who've been doing it for 20, 30 years? Well, now that's me. And I'm saying the same stuff I did 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. And
that's what I said, a rare breed. There's not many people that haven't changed their opinion, like a leopard changes their, never changes their spots.
I think if you're trusting people who change their opinion every 5 minutes just to meet with everyone else's opinion, then you pretty much know what they're all about, really. And I've said to Ben many times, and it's hard for him because he's far more focused on things that I'm not really, although I am more recently. But the fact that I'm more concerned with my. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I'm desperate to make money. I'm desperate to succeed. But my message is my positivity. It's like, well, I know what I'm saying is true, and because I've done it all, I've seen everything. I never
You're
tell anything.
You're not afraid of upsetting someone.
Well, no,
because if they like the truth or not, it doesn't matter. But from your years of experience, that's the truth.
Yeah, because I only tell them what I've learned and what I've known and what I've seen with my own eyes, not what I've heard. Like if someone asks me a question I don't know, I will genuinely say I don't know the answer, but I will happily press on anyone my opinion, especially if they're paying me to do that. And I've been trying to make Ben do that as well. And he like I said to you a minute ago, off mic. The fact that 10 years ago he'd never have done this. He'd never have sat in a room like this. And
I think as well with you is you're not influenced by anything else. All you do is fishery consultancy. It's not like you've got fish you need to sell. It's not like you're influenced by any external sort of.
Yeah, but you know why that is. I've said to you that. I've said I never wanted to be in that situation, because if you're in that situation where you have to sell fish,
but that's what.
Then you have to sell them.
Yeah.
And I've never wanted to be in that situation. I said that to you many years ago. The fact that if you're a fish farmer and your whole job is to sell fish, you have to sell fish. So if anyone rings you up and asks you, then you're going to say yes, you need those fish. And I grew up with that. I grew up with people saying, "Oh yeah, it's all a good thing." And I've got nothing against fish farmers. We know the best fish farmers in the country, and we work with them, and all this, that, and the other. And they'll always have outlets for fish. But I still stick to my guns, because we, without a doubt, I'm ever so sorry to anyone who thinks they do, but we do more survey work than anyone else. We're out every day, and we're fully booked, and we offer a very professional and good service. All right, there's loads of people who do it these days, but we're busy enough, we're good enough for what we do.
Yeah, because you've built your brand, you've stayed consistent to your values all the way through. Yeah. That's what I've said this to you time and time off the mic. You're consistent. There's no, you can go back 10, 15 years and you're saying the same stuff then.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to please anyone. I'm not a yes man. I'm never going to be. I don't care. I care about my job. I care about giving people honest opinions. And luckily, that set me in good stead. I'm sure now, what I'm amazed at is no one else is trying to do the same thing. I'm amazed there's not 100 people online giving it the, all right, mate, yeah, biomass, look at us, we've got loads of knitted. People are doing that, but not to the extent that I did when I was a young kid.
But then you used to talk.
No, that's just my go-to default. Listen, we're all anglers, right? We all love fishing, and we've all grown up loving angling and fishing, and we all do it for different reasons. But at the end of the day, we're lucky. We work in an industry which is outdoors. It's pretty awesome. All I want people to understand is that it takes a lot of hard work and determination and graft to get to a point where you've got the respect of the industry and enough people to make a living from it. It's not easy. No. And I'm ever so proud of Ben for doing what he's done, and it's just a great thing. We're very lucky. It's very easy to go, oh, it's really cold.
You make your own luck. We're not very lucky. You haven't been very lucky. You've pushed forward each time. That's the thing when people say, oh yeah, you need a bit of luck. You don't. You physically put luck in your favour.
Yeah, because there's been hundreds of times where I've sat in a situation, and a lot of it is I've been able to do it in fairness because I was put through it when I was young, and it was working for a fish dealer, Founding of Fisheries when I was a kid. I worked for them, and they put me in these situations when I was very, very young. And fair play to them. I was up in Northumberland with royal people and high society, and I was a kid, and they put me in these banquet rooms, and I had bloody jogging bottoms on, and they took me out shooting, and they chucked me in the deep end with these people, and you just realise that everyone's the same. Once everyone's had a beer or two, or when everyone's on the same level, it doesn't matter if they've got £10 million in the bank or if they're. And that taught me so much. And I remember, there's things in my life that I remember massively, and that is one of them, being in this massive hall and someone said, oh, he's 18th in line for the throne, all this stuff. And you're like, yeah, but he's sitting there talking about tits. And we're all drunk, and I was a kid, I was a child, and it was amazing. And those are turning points, because you think, well, I'm just going to treat everyone like that.
Yeah.
Because bottom line is, I don't want to make friends with people. I'm not the sort of person who's desperate for attention. Yeah. You don't need loads of friends. You need good friends. And I've just never had that yearning to make everyone like me. I just never had that. I want to, everyone knows me. If you know me, you know me. I'm a bit of a dick. I say too much all the time. But at the end of the day, no one can knock what I do for a living, and no one can knock my work ethic or what I've done. And that's good enough. That's good enough for me, if and I'm proud of that, really. And as you get older, you could appreciate it more, without a doubt. But I love the fact that things that we said 10 years ago are now coming to fruition. I love the fact that stuff I said to Ben 10 years ago, when it was difficult to make decisions he's made and decisions I've made. Now you come and think, yeah, actually it is all working now, because the industry's fickle, and the industry's led by. Now it's led by media a lot of the time, but it's led by a lot of bullshit as well. Yeah. And if you cut through a lot of that bullshit, then the same people are still there at the end of the day. And in the last 25, 30 years that I've been there, you know, you can. There's 10 or 12 people that are still there, that were there that long ago, and luckily now I think I'm one of them.
Brilliant.
And he will be as well, and that's all I've got to say because I'm pretty pissed now.
So I think we should carry this on as like a mini-series for fishery management, maybe once a week, once a fortnight, why not? We're about to go out and get absolutely
fitness
smashed.
So
I'll wrap it up here. Thank you both for coming.